Hello, and welcome to another edition of Carry Out Conversations. This is our very fun podcast where we like to eat and then just sit down and talk. I'm John.
I'm Dave.
And I'm Noah.
And we are so glad you joined us tonight, or today, tomorrow, however, whenever you're listening into us, we are really glad you joined us. Once again, talk about, something just a second that we've mentioned before in a couple of times, and I keep getting this question, guys. What kind of show are we? And the only thing that I can really say is we are a menu show.
Yes.
Whatever we feel like having on our menu is exactly what we're going to talk about.
But like, we're in one of those restaurants where the menu is a small book. And it's like a fusion restaurant.
Yes. Yeah. One day you get Chinese. Next day you get Italian. Mexican.
Italian.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's exactly how we are. We have no real...
I could go for some Chinese. Let's go to get some Chinese after this.
Chinese sounds really good. Although the Qdoba that we just ate...
Yeah, we just ate.
...is kind of like messing with my stomach, so...
You'll be all right.
Yeah. Well, if we went to Chipotle...
Who recommended that?
I did, because it's delicious and it's better than Chipotle on every level.
The only reason why you think it's delicious
#
is
not a sponsor.
The only reason you think it's delicious is because you worked there.
Normally, working at a place would have the opposite effect. Like, when people work at a fast food place, they have the opposite thing where they're like, oh, well, I don't like it because I worked there, so I ate it all the time. Me, I loved Qdoba when I started, and I love Qdoba more now that I've left. So I don't understand that. Great food is good food, no matter how many times you have it.
Right, and instead of going to great food, we went to Qdoba.
Okay,
Again,
Arby's is not great food. Arby's is good. Arby's slaps sometimes, but Arby's is not great food.
Arby's is amazing food.
Their gyros are pretty good.
We'll hash out this argument another time.
Yes. But yeah, that is exactly the type of show that we are, though.
Welcome to tonight's topic, everybody. We bicker about fast food.
Yes.
No, it's not really.
We do have a show about that one, though. We will be getting into that one at some point.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, we are essentially whatever we think of, whatever comes to mind is what we talk about. And tonight, we are going to be talking about each other. We are going to be interviewing each other. I think this is kind of a fun thing, and it's something that we haven't done yet, and just kind of a fun, little, so that way you guys get to know us. And who wants to go first?
We'll go first.
All right. So this is Noah.
So tell them what the name of the episode is.
Do you want me to just tell them?
Yeah, I want
do
you to
want
say
me
it because it's going to segue into the beginning of my.
Okay.
He has a plan.
I do have.
He has a plan, ladies and gentlemen.
The title of the show is "What's in the Box,"
which we all know is from the movie
Seven.
Okay, so
amazing movie.
So I'm going to start with the story from when I was 7.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That works.
Okay.
That works.
So, when I was 7, I had this I had this thing where I'd like ask my dad a ton of stupid questions, like, when you're a kid, like, you ask stupid questions like just all the time, and I would do it on car rides to bother him, because I was a little turd, so they just ask him crap.
Well, that's a kid.
And one time I had a fly go up my nose, and I was really scared. I was like, Dad, what would you do if a fly went up your nose? And he just thought I was asking him another annoying, stupid question. He's like, son, I don't know what I'd do. That sounds like a conundrum there. And he's messing with me because he thinks I'm, lying to him. And I'm like, never mind. It came out of my mouth.
Wow. Wow. All right. And moving on.
Did it fly out?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So.
Or did you spit it out?
No, it just did its thing. It came out. And, yeah. So, all right. So now that we've addressed my childhood, let's move to middle school.
That was his whole childhood. There's nothing of note aside from that story.
Okay. No, this is an important thing. You know how you don't remember until before a certain point?
Mm-hmm.
I swear, I was most of my memories before 11 are very vague.
I get that.
I don't know if I really spawned until 14.
Oh,
you know what I mean? I was pretty half baked there for a while. So middle school I did your normal middle school things, rap battles in the gym,
as one does.
Yeah, being all thought I was all gangster, listening to Eminem, hating my parents, stuff like that.
Why was Eminem hating your parents?
I don't know. I dyed my hair red. I was in a cringy emo band called Never Satisfied. We're still around.
And just as cringe, right?
It is kind of interesting that he said he dyed his hair red, and the first thing that I did was look at his head. So when you see our TikTok page, which by the way, guys, we have our own TikTok page. Check us out.
Just launched.
Just launched today. Actually, Carry Out Conversations podcast.
Although it's going to be like a few weeks before you guys hear this, so it just launched 3 or 4 weeks ago.
Yes,
something like that.
But right when he said something about dyeing his hair red, I immediately looked at his head. So when you see the video, you'll understand why.
I'm currently a quite bald feller. So, us bald people used to have red hair, so it happens. So
is that how it works?
Yeah, so middle school is awkward for everybody. My middle school was super awkward because I thought I knew everything and I didn't know anything. I'll do a brief high school story and then I'll get into like myself now, I guess. So in high school, there was this girl Shelby, and I'm like, oh, I really like this girl. I need to ask her out. And I thought in all the movies, like the guy makes a big sweeping gesture and then the girl falls for him, right? So I'm like, I need to make a big sweeping gesture to make this girl fall for me.
With the boombox outside of her window?
No, I went way harder than that, dude.
Oh.
I actually don't know if you guys have heard this story before. Have you?
No,
it doesn't sound familiar.
Okay. So, in my high school, during a football game, you could do a popcorn shout out, which was essentially you like give the guy in the booth or the stand like popcorn that you paid 50 cents for, and then they would say whatever you wanted over the PA system at the football game.
That sounds like someone would abuse that quickly.
Yeah, I did. So I asked the guy to ask her out for me over the PA system.
Wow.
At a football game, which is like, that's pretty big. Like that's
Please tell me you did not get denied.
Yeah. So I go over to where she's sitting and I'm like, so Shelby, what do you think? Like you wanna go out? And then this kid Josiah looks over at me, throws his arm over her, and's like, sorry, bro.
Oh, painful.
Oh.
I bought in Arizona and went home. I did not stay for the game. I don't even like football.
Hashtag also not a sponsor. Arizona, the tea of rejection.
Make that a t-shirt.
I like that. That was really
But
good.
Arizona is such a happy tea. It's like $1. It's always there when you need it. It's so tall and beautiful. So yeah, then like getting out of high school, worked at a couple places, Applebee's, Qdoba. Both of those broke my heart for different reasons. Applebee's because of love, and Qdoba because it sucked. And then
not a sponsor from either one.
Yep. No, guys, we don't have to keep saying not a sponsor. They know it's not a sponsor.
Well, the fact that we just talked about Qdoba and you talked about how great it was, and now you just said it sucked.
Well, no, working there sucked. The food is amazing, and everyone should go there. Not a sponsor. But so then like getting out of high school, worked those 2 jobs. Now I work with these lovely gentlemen at where we work. And so yeah, I don't know, like that was cool. I'm a apologist, so I do like theology podcasts and other stuff like in my free time.
I don't hear you apologizing that much.
Yeah, so apologetics is like it means to give a defense for something. So apologetics is essentially debate. So it's just like a more classical term for that. And so yeah, I've just been like doing debates here and there, working with these guys, living with my folks. That's about it.
Yes.
So
were you living La Vida Loca?
No, I'm living like really chill and like,
or living on the edge.
Neither. I'm like living in a very normal, boring Midwest way.
He's a bubble boy.
Well, that's not a very good pop song.
Yeah, it is. Midwest emo is awesome.
Yeah. So, something that you didn't mention, and we won't go into like full detail because we do have to have a bit of privacy, but
A very little bit.
yeah, the very little bit. Most of our listeners do know that we are designated in Michigan. Did you grow up here? Was you born and raised here, or did you move anywhere else? Anything like that?
I was born and raised in where I live. I almost said my city.
You could say your city if you really wanted to. I mean,
no.
it doesn't matter.
I was born and raised in Michigan. I have never moved from Michigan. I haven't even moved houses, which is like shocking to a lot of people. I have traveled a lot though. Like I have gone to a lot of different places in the U.S. I've been to West Virginia. I've been to South Carolina. I've been to Colorado. Just because we have like family all over, and so I don't know. It's just like we've just always kind of stayed here, and I've always kind of liked Michigan because Michigan's kind of unique. Like our weather is, people are like, oh, it's so cold, but our summers are great. And we're gonna secede from the Union, so I'm really excited about that.
I forgot about that. I didn't hear. I didn't get the memo. I
Yeah,
guess.
I mean, like your consent, while appreciated, is ultimately unnecessary.
Oh,
So,
as with most things.
Yeah.
oof. So yeah, I've lived here for forever.
Okay. So, what about brothers, sisters?
Oh yes, I have two brothers. One his name's Bob, or Robbie. He's 30. And then I have a sister named Elizabeth who's 27. And then I have a brother Nathan who's 24, and I'm the youngest. And
So you are the baby.
yeah, I'm 21 and I'm the youngest, which shows how old my parents are.
I will say though, your parents are awesome.
Oh, thank you.
Like your parents are absolutely awesome. They all the time, like they're bringing in stuff for us and things like that. Your dad is flipping amazing. Like he's hilarious just sitting there talking to him.
What bothers me is he brings in more stuff for you guys than he does me. So he'll bring me in one Red Bull and he'll bring in a 4-pack or guy we work with, a 4-pack of Red Bull and like chips and stuff. And it's like, wait, so I get one thing and the people you haven't even met and a guy you've met 3 times get more? Like, this bull crap. And I don't know. He tries to do that like once a month.
He always waves to me when I walk. If he's sitting there waiting for you to come out and I'm walking in my car, he always waves.
Yeah,
No,
he
he-
always.
No, I mean, my dad's a really cool guy. He's just kind of like an older dude who just wants to like hang out with his dog. And like
I mean, what's wrong with that? I want to
Nothing.
do that.
nothing. I think it's awesome.
I will say one of the funniest things that I've seen with your dad is like we were just talking about. He likes to wave to everybody, and he's just generally nice and things like that. And last week there was a day where me, you, and one of the other guys walked out, and you were about to get in your car, and I noticed out of the corner of my eye your dad kind of waving, and I didn't really pay attention to it, like, because I was just focused on what we were talking about and stuff like that.
Sure.
And after we were done, I happened to look over, and your dad had his face basically plastered to the windshield. And when I made eye contact with him, he just like slowly waved to me.
That does not sound like him at all.
Oh, it was the funniest
That's
thing
hilarious.
because he had to make sure that that we saw that. And
That's
I mean,
so funny.
it's great. Just
That's awesome.
your parents are like that.
Thank
you. So, tell us something like special about yourself, like something that,
Bald.
well, is that special or?
Oh, like something special. I'm a virgin. That's special.
Well,
special to me. You
There's
cannot
nothing-
have this, Dave.
Okay.
Just so you know.
there's nothing wrong with that though.
I'll-
No, there's
I'll
everything
try
right with
to
it.
resist.
It's my superpower. No, so virginity is my superpower. No, something interesting about myself, like I do I haven't like done it as much recently, but I do leather work. Like I do book rebinding and restoration.
Nice.
So it's the problem with that hobby is it's really expensive because leather, like genuine cow leather that's nice, is really expensive. So when you go to the store and you buy like a notebook for $40 that has leather on it, that's called tooling leather, and it's like the bottom of the barrel crap. what I would put on like a book or on a restored thing would cost at least, like $80 for the amount of material for one book. And the problem with that is if you cut wrong, you just lost $80. And there's no way to like recover it because now the leather is too small because of the way that they'll ship it to you and like the different sizes you get. And so it's an interesting hobby and I like it, but if I were to try and make it profitable, the margins are just so thin, like it's not worth it. And but yeah, it's fun and like you can make some pretty like beautiful stuff like with leatherwork. So
nice. Okay. Well, you did say that you do like apologetics and things like that, and I know a little bit about that one because I grew up kind of studying that actually in the Bible college, and I'll talk about that when I get into mine.
Yeah.
But what about college? I mean,
Yep. So
tell us things about that.
So I was going for a theology degree. I have since stopped that. I'm putting that on the back burner for now. And I'm just trying to like find like a job, like a new job, find something to make some cash on, and then I might go back.
Yes, openly announce to the world that you're looking for a new job.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, whoops. But yeah, I'm currently looking for a job. So if you want to hire me, thanks. Be awesome.
He'll make you something out of leather.
I mean, I won't.
What if that's what you get called to do, though?
I hope not, because then I'd probably make less money than I make now.
Well,
So,
I mean, you never know.
But yeah, so I kind of I actually got into history first. Like I was a big history nerd in high school, just like World War II and crap, and like Revolutionary War history. And then that led me to studying philosophy, like Plato and Aristotle and all that boring garbage. And then philosophy got me into theology. And so it went kind of like history, philosophy, theology. And surprisingly, now what I do, for the most part, is historical theology, which is like looking at how history impacts theological development, which is, I don't know, it's interesting.
Yeah. I mean, we all have our own little things that we find interesting, and it definitely is. I mean, theology is kind of it's something that's kind of fallen by the wayside in a way, because nobody wants to talk about spiritual things anymore. Nobody wants to talk about God anymore, right. and so to find somebody, especially at your age, that is willing to, that's actually actively seeking it out, that's kind of that's very rare. Normally you see people in like theology classes, they're 35, 40-year-old men that have basically done everything, and this is their go-to in the end. So I applaud you for that, because that's, like I said, it's very, very rare and uncommon to find somebody at such a young age that's willing to actively seek that stuff out.
Well, what's actually really interesting about the whole age thing is if you look at like the Middle Ages, one of the things they would do is you would have to get your like master's in something else before you could study theology. So you had to have a like master's of arts in something, like law, before you could even begin to study theology, because they put it at a higher level than, like, they priced it as a higher study than the other studies. And so it's like, oh, you want to study theology? Well, you got to get all these other degrees first. So most people who were getting their bachelor's in theology in the Middle Ages were like 30, which is really weird because now most guys in Bible college are 18.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it's there's like kind of that, before you can touch this thing, you have to go through these other studies and these other forms of education. It's kind of like before you write music, you have to learn music theory.
Yeah.
So it's like before you can study theology, you have to learn logic. So
it makes sense. I mean, anybody who just runs into something and tries to just learn it all at one time, that can kind of mess you up.
Yeah.
that'd be bad
later on.
Okay.
So, okay. So, all right. Well, that was great.
That's about it for me, man.
Well, Dave, you got any questions or anything like that?
I don't know.
You don't know.
I don't either.
Yeah. Well, Noah is he's a very special breed. I say that in a good way.
That's Special breed with special needs.
Sorry.
No.
No, you made it sound like I was the slow horse that they give to the anorexic jockey.
I was thinking more of like the little Chihuahua that is just a little
not
bit
get-
too
it's not-
big to fit in the purse,
It's not getting better.
but small enough to get kicked every time that you take a step.
Who's kicking their Chihuahua that much?
Have you ever had a Chihuahua?
I kick the pug all the time. Yeah, we have this game. It's called Kick the Pug, where the pug gets in my way, so I kick it.
Punt the pug. That's so sad. I will say it's kind of funny though when we walked in. Hannah, the other puppy.
She's not a pug.
No, she's not the pug. She is she's a beautiful puppy. And I walked in and she was so excited she actually sat down on the pug.
Yeah, she does that.
That was kind of funny just watching because I love dogs.
Yeah.
But it was so good to actually hear, Noah's story. And now we're going to move on just a bit and we're going to find out what is in Dave's box.
You don't want to know.
What's in the box?
What's in the box, Dave?
I don't know, but it's very awkward.
Oh, really?
Very awkward.
Yes, it's a very awkward box.
Okay.
Awkward is a good thing sometimes.
Uh-huh.
So let's start off with this. Like, where did you grow up?
So I believe I was technically born in Wyandotte. I can't remember where my parents lived at the time.
It's in Michigan, by the way, people, just so you know.
Yes, in Michigan. So I spent my childhood in Lincoln Park. It was nicer back then than it is now, and I still remember my home address and my phone number. I'm not going to say them out loud.
Please.
No.
Please, while we take notes, say them.
I wonder if someone still has that phone number now. Anyway, so I grew up in Lincoln Park until I was, I want to say 12 or 13, something like that. And then in summer of 2001, we moved over closer to where we are now. I'm going to stop naming cities now,
Yeah.
which is like 7 minutes from where we work. And then I lived there until very recently when I moved in with my best friend. So
Okay.
I haven't lived like outside of a 20-mile radius here.
Okay.
Cool.
What about schools? Like what, you said you grew up kind of like in Lincoln Park. Did you go to Lincoln Park School or did you go?
So yes and no. I actually started in a private Lutheran school,
Base.
kindergarten through 4th, and
Okay.
then public school 5th on up.
Okay. How'd you like the Christian school, the Lutheran schools? Because
I didn't.
didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I know a lot of people kind of.
I honestly I have some kind of learning disability, and they weren't really equipped to handle that. So I was getting in trouble a lot, and it's just I wasn't actually acting out or anything.
Yeah. That's always hard because it's like a lot of people don't even know they don't know how to deal with like learning disabilities. They just kind of either they focus so hard on it and forget everybody else, or they just kind of breeze over and not really pay attention
Yeah.
sometimes. But
Right.
okay. So what about family? What kind of family?
I have one.
You have one. That's
Yeah.
good.
Mom and a dad and 2 brothers.
Okay.
Sweet.
No sisters. I am just like Noah. I'm also the youngest
Awesome.
of 3 brothers. They are both married and have kids.
Okay.
Dope.
They live like around this area, or are they gonna live out of state and things like that?
No, they're all still in Michigan. One of them is not far from here, and then the other one is actually up in Wyandotte.
Okay. All right. So what about like childhood? Like what's a good childhood memory you can think of? Oh. All right.
I try not to think about it too much.
Dang.
No, I didn't have a bad childhood. It just a not very interesting childhood either. I was late to the party on a lot of things. I didn't learn how to ride a bike until I was I don't know, like 8 or 9 years old, something like that. Might have even been 10. I can't remember.
Okay. Well, there's nothing wrong with that, though. I mean, sometimes,
Like I said, learning disability.
yeah.
But
No.
I started to cultivate a interest in technology. Like even back then,
Yeah.
I was always. I honestly, I'm surprised I'm still alive because I used to play with electricity.
But that's something that seems like you're good at, though. I've
Playing
noticed,
with
like,
electricity.
yes, playing with electricity.
Now, I was actually playing with mains voltage, wiring things up, like because my dad had spare like outlets and switches and things in the garage, and I found some copper wire, and I probably shouldn't have.
You were such. That sounds like if I was your dad, I'd be so freaking stressed. I'd be like, oh yeah, I have a kid who likes to play with sockets.
Like socket wrenches?
No.
He likes to stick things in
Outlets.
outlets.
Yes.
But,
Yeah.
well, that's all right, though. I mean, like I said, so where did that take you as far as, you like electricity, you like electronics. I mean,
It
a lot
didn't-
of the stuff that we have, actually everything we have for the show is yours.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. The audio equipment and the laptop we record on. The 8-year-old laptop, I need to replace it.
but where did that take you as far as, working with this stuff? I mean, what has that done for you?
Not very far at all.
Well-
I don't have a job in any sort of technical field. I input data all day. It did bring me into theater for about 5.5 years. I used to work in community theater. This was more recent. It was from like 2011 to 2017 or something. It might have, yeah. And there I was running lights and sound for a variety of shows.
So how did like your experience in community theater kind of like shape who you are and like how you view technology and how you interact with it?
That's a complicated question. I mean, I could say my experience in community theater just taught me to be more tolerant of people in general,
Right.
which has nothing to do with technology.
Sure.
If there's one thing I could say, it kind of taught me how to problem solve.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was always trying to come up with certain ways to do things. For instance, we did one show that at some point called for a character to walk over to a piano and start playing it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the actor we had couldn't play piano, but we had a piano in the venue where we were. So I wired up a set of speakers right behind the music stand on the piano so the audience couldn't see it. And I had another laptop just like playing piano music through it. And I would watch, and as soon as they sat down to the piano and would lift their arms to start playing, I would hit that music. And some of the audience members were like briefly fooled, like, wait a minute, is he actually playing?
That's
So,
actually really
like,
cool.
That's really
Yeah,
awesome.
so it was a bit of problem solving. Like, how can I make this believable?
Mhm.
Because he can't play piano.
Why-
Neither can I.
Why would they have an actor that couldn't play piano?
the
None
role
of us
demands
could.
it.
Yeah.
That just seems like it's fun.
It was difficult to get cast members at times, so we couldn't exactly be picky.
You could have taught him a scale and just had him do a scale.
Well, it called for specific pieces of music, and one of
okay.
them was Chopin.
Oh,
Ooh.
wait, did you say Chopin?
Did I say that wrong?
Chopin?
I'm pretty sure anyone who knows anything about music would tell you that you're wrong. Maybe I got it wrong as well.
Is it pronounced?
Pronounced.
Pronounced? Yes.
Is it pronounced? Is it pronounced?
It's pronounced Chopin.
Is it pronounced Chapin? Chopin? I think it's Chopin.
I've always heard Chopin.
Where are these extra letters you're adding to this word? I'm sorry, Dave. I understand that your story is important and meaningful, but this is bull.
Now he has to Google it.
Okay.
Make sure you hold your phone up to the mic so we can hear what it says.
I think it also-
Okay. All right. Are you ready? Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna play it and
Chopin.
So I got it kind of right there.
I'm gonna hard disagree with Google. I'm gonna okay, so
Please ask any music major. You know, you've got to know one or two.
I'm sorry, they're music majors, not English majors. And that's very obvious from how they're pronouncing this. Okay, what is CH? What does that make? What sound does that make?
Well, it depends on what word it is.
No, it doesn't. What sound does it make?
CH can make an SH sound at times.
Yeah.
Where? Other than this.
Avalanche. Wait,
No,
is that a CH or just a CE?
No, CH, but that's still the
That's
ch.
a
Oh,
not a.
well, I'm not a grammar major either.
Porsche.
Oh yeah.
Porsche.
I'm sorry, that's not even an American word.
It doesn't matter.
Well, neither is Chopin.
Yeah.
You mean chopping? All right, I'm sorry, Dave. You get back to your chopping story. I'll stop talking.
So I was chopping some bodies apart, and
Whoa!
Wow. All right.
You were showing them off.
Yep. I was, dissolving the body parts in acid as one does.
Man, community theater is whack.
It's definitely gone a lot different
Got
than when I
darker.
was there.
We were doing Breaking Bad the musical, so
That sounds like
And
such a great idea.
the director wanted more realism, so we had to actually murder some people.
I think I would watch that.
Breaking,
I would so watch
Breaking Bad
that.
the musical.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's like played by real meth addicts and a real biology teacher. So you get like a local biology teacher to just like yell at meth heads for an hour.
So
No
a
script.
normal high school chemistry class.
Ooh.
Yeah. So it taught me a lot about problem solving.
Yes.
I think that was the point I was driving at.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's where you
Yep.
started off.
Yeah, I was. By the end of it, I was controlling the lights with a Wii remote.
Okay, explain that one. Just
Yeah,
a little
that
bit.
that requires a lot of explanation.
Yeah.
Okay, so the lights eventually became computer controlled, which they weren't when I started, but we invested in some newer equipment. So I had my Wii remote. Wii remotes, by the way, are just Bluetooth.
Right.
That's how they communicate with the Wii. We're talking 2006 Bluetooth technology, but in any case, they're still very power efficient. So one set of batteries can last, for possibly days if you're not using it a lot, especially if you're just connecting it to a computer and not using like the motion control or anything.
Mhm.
Anyway, so I had that connected to my computer and controlling the light software. So I programmed a few macros into the lighting software. So as I was setting up the lights, I could test them and briefly turn them on and off. That way they wouldn't get too hot while I was repositioning them. So again, more problem solving.
Yeah.
I had remote control of the lights and some sound effects and sometimes entire scenes. I did a lot of interesting things with game controllers in those days. That was kind of my weird little obsession.
Hey.
You gotta make your work fun, man.
Right.
Yes.
Right. And that's it's interesting because, like you said, your job now is basically data input because like shipping and receiving stuff. But it's interesting that almost every single day you've come and you've said something that has to do with like some form of technology, and it's just watching your face light up when you're talking about things. It's like you could tell like that is where your heart is.
That's my thing. Yep.
Yeah, because it's like I remember getting a text message a couple weeks ago about scanners for work, and just like my first thought is like that could be cool, but at the same time, why are you texting me this? And then
because I already owned one and I digged it out of my parents. I dug it out of my parents' garage.
Done dig a dome.
Told you I'm not an English major.
Chop.
But it's like I said, it's fun to like kind of watching you really talk about stuff that you really enjoy.
Yeah. So if anyone's hiring for something that I enjoy, just like Noah, just contact me.
Yeah, I mean,
Our boss is listening to this. He's like, they're all leaving me.
we're all gonna get fired as soon as he hears this.
What are we gonna do, Laura?
Because he totally listens to our show.
No. Actually, what if he does?
I would, that would be really
He
appreciative
might-
if he
yeah.
does, though.
Yeah.
Because that would be a show of support.
Yeah.
That would
Right.
actually be really cool to see.
What
Yeah.
if he like trolls us? He's like, bad show. Unsubscribe.
Every week he subscribes and unsubscribes just to
Just to mess
just
with
to
us.
mess the
Jesus.
numbers.
Like, oh, we're up a subscriber. Aw.
Yeah,
We're
no,
down one.
So, what else interests you? Like, what is something else that you're really kind of just interested in for the most part? I know you like music.
Oh yeah, I love music. I literally just started drum lessons a month ago
Sweet.
for the
That's
drum
nice.
kit that I've had for a year almost. I figured I own it. I may as well learn how to use it.
Learn how to
And those
Learn how
are
to play
going
it.
well.
Yeah, reasonably well. My drum instructor seems pleased with my progress so far. So,
Nice.
Awesome.
and then once I learn how to play the drums, maybe the 6 or 8 keyboards I own, I'll learn how to play those as well.
and the keytar.
Yes, the
This,
keytar.
this man owns a keytar.
Yes.
Everybody, it is
It's really sick.
I'm very
is
I'm very proud of it
fabulous to see.
because it's older than I am, and I made it work over Bluetooth.
Wow.
I remember that too. Like one of the first shows that we did, when we came over, you pulled that
Yeah.
out and you were showing us like
Little show and
everything
tell.
that you did.
Again, it's
yeah.
a technology thing. It's just one of those things that interests me. Like that's why I own so much music gear. It's not it. I mean, there is an interest in music, but also like the technology behind it and what I can do with it. I could map the keys on a electronic keyboard to set off sound effects or lights, just like I did with the Wii remote.
Hmm.
So yeah, I love learning about that stuff.
And Dave is also our producer and editor
Yes,
for the show. So, definitely thank you for that because
I'm the reason it doesn't sound right.
No.
you're the reason it sounds amazing,
Thank
honestly,
you,
because,
Dave.
I like technology to a point, but that's something that I could never do, I don't think, because,
Yes.
the
No.
editing part of it. So, but, yeah, I mean, it's great, like
you
I
get to
said.
manage our TikTok.
That's true.
That is a job in and of itself.
That's true. I get to manage the TikTok that we have. And so what else? Like what's something that we should know about the Dave?
I'm single. Ladies, don't miss your Dave opportunity.
Yeah.
There we go.
That's not bound. Even though we're not going to release this for 3 or 4 weeks, that's not bound to change. So,
You never know.
You never know.
ladies, prospective employers that do like theater lighting or something, contact me. And ladies, also contact me,
Especially
And if you're a-
especially if you need some theater lighting.
And
Yes.
if you're a lady who could employ him to do some theater lighting, then
that's a win-win.
that's a setup for a movie.
Yeah.
We could do something very theatrical.
It could be.
Whoa. Well, let's
Nice.
keep
All
it
right.
PG here, chopping.
Oh man. All right, so I got to ask you this here because we got just a couple more minutes for you. Something that you've talked to us about before,
Yeah.
and I want you to kind of explain it to people because I think this would be a great thing. You have a mobile karaoke.
Oh God.
Yes.
So
Yes.
again, that stems from an interest in technology.
Right.
I wanted to see if I could do it, so I did it. So essentially, and this is kind of a long-winded explanation, but basically I bought a Chinese, amplifier, sound amplifier on a whim. It was $22. It ran on like 12 or 24 volts DC, and I'm like, this thing can't be that good, but maybe I can use it to power some computer speakers or something.
Mhm.
It won't be completely useless. I get it and I hook it up to my PA speakers because yes, I own a few pairs of those. Just a few as one does. And they're blasting, and they're blasting cleanly. They sound good.
Hmm.
And I'm like, it's the amp I'm talking about is literally in the room with us
The one
right
that
now.
we're using. Nice.
Yes. And I'm like, well, I wasn't expecting that. But even then, it's not quite powerful enough to drive like bigger speakers. So eventually, I bought another Chinese amp with a slightly powered chipset in it. These are called Class D amps because they're solid state. They have normal amps don't really have moving parts, but these are all microchip based, and they're surprisingly good for cheap. I think the other one cost me like $32, like, or maybe it was 35, but just a little bit more than this one cost me. So I used that as my main amp to drive my 12-inch PA speakers out of the back of my vehicle. And it worked. Loud. They were loud. I have a video from the day that I got that amp in the mail because I went and hooked it up like almost immediately. And like you can see the cones in the woofers just moving up and down because I was blasting the bass. And again, they sounded clean. So from there, I was like, okay, I want a mobile PA system now. So I went and bought a sound mixer. Again, I'm sorry for being long-winded, but it's a domino effect. One thing leads to another.
Right.
So I bought a Chinese mixer, and of course, it has special power requirements that I can't match with 12 volts DC. So I had to buy a 12 volt to plus and minus 15 volt up converter, and that was, it's a big rabbit hole. I guess long story short, again, one thing led to another. I eventually found a way to power my laptop off of 12 volts DC. Again, it's more up converters. I have a 12 to 24 up converter, a 12 to plus and minus 15 up converter, and a 12 to 19 up converter for my laptop. Mm-hmm. And then, what was it? I also bought a USB screen for my laptop. So one cable out of my laptop into a screen. And I bought a cheap iPad mount, and it held the screen onto a microphone stand. And I already had a couple of microphones, as you guys know.
Right.
And, I only have a couple.
Yeah, just a
13 or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I need more. Anyway. So I had the microphones. I, put together a couple of custom cables because I like to solder as well. And, yeah, I have an amp, a mixer. I have a karaoke collection that I keep on my laptop. And so the audio comes out of the laptop into the mixer. Then the microphones go into the mixer. And I have speaker stands. So I've put my speakers on stands, and it all runs off of car power.
Everything runs out of his car. Yeah. It's actually kind of cool to see too, because you showed me. We still have yet to actually see it live.
Well, that's because it's dismantled at the moment. Like one piece is here. There's some stuff in those bins over there. There's some stuff upstairs. The speakers are still at my parents' house.
But just like Optimus Prime, it can be put back together.
Yes, of course.
You just need the AllSpark, aka the Dave Mobile.
Yeah.
Yes.
If you are in the area and you ever want to see Dave, just look for the speaker. Just look for the license plate that says it's Dave.
Yes.
And that is our producer, everybody.
I should register that as a trademark.
I really wish you took the E off of it, so it'd just be like, it's Dave.
Dave.
No.
So we're going to steal the E from your license plate?
How do you do that? It's embossed into the metal.
I'll figure it out.
Are you going to take a hammer and tap it back down so it flattens out?
No, because I could still read it. I have to take it.
Okay.
I'll figure it out.
While you're doing that.
Jonathan.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Tell us about your you.
You're the eldest of the bunch here.
I am the eldest of the bunch, which is odd because normally I am the middle of everybody. I am the middle child. Growing up, I have an older sister that's 3 years older than I am, and then I have a 10-year younger brother than me.
If you have a 10-year-old brother, that's a whole other story.
Yeah, how are you the middle child if you have a 10-year-old brother?
Well. So anyway, let's see. My life is fairly boring, to be honest with you.
Same.
I am a kind of one of those jack of many trades. I know how to do a few things, never actually learned how to master any of them. I guess starting with it, I grew up in Arkansas.
Arkansas.
You got to say it right.
Arkansas.
Chop. All right.
The only people who say Arkansas are the people that live in Kansas because, well, they're dumb. So, yes.
You're not in Arkansas
Is
anymore.
that a southerner calling another southerner stupid?
So Kansas is not south. Kansas is not a southern state. It is a western state. More of a Midwestern.
Kansas is not Midwestern.
It is Midwestern.
No,
It is in the middle of the West.
but it's not Midwest. Midwest is Michigan, Indiana, Wisconsin.
But see, that's something I've never quite understood either. Is like, how is that Midwest?
Yeah, I'll explain. Because at the time, that was the West
Right.
of the nation.
Well,
and
anything
then-
further than Virginia was West.
Yeah, exactly. That was the upper West, the north of the.
But was it Kanye West?
No,
Hashtag not affiliated.
I think we are.
Kanye, if you're listening, we would love to do an interview with you.
Yes.
That would be amazing.
We'd
Yes.
love to. But
Also, OJ, where are you?
it's a glove fit. So tell us about growing up in Arkansas.
So growing up in Arkansas, I grew up in a little town. Most people, unless you live there, you're not going to know where it is. So I'll go ahead and talk about it. It's called Traskwood, actually. Yeah. Very, very small town.
Sounds like it.
I want to say when I was growing up there, we had a total of like 400 people. That was the entire town. It is a straight one road town, basically. We had a gas station. We had a post office. At one time we had a school. It was way before I was there. So the school there had shut down and everything. But, that was basically our town. And we were the last house for miles in our town. Like where I grew up is like you go down, like I said, the one main road, and then our house is there, and then for miles it's nothing but woods. So I grew up in the country, in the sticks.
But did you listen to Styx?
No, I did not listen to Styx.
Sailing away.
I will
We're gonna get copyright claim. Don't sing any more of that.
I will sadly say I don't know a Styx song.
Yes, you do. The one I just sang.
I
Yeah.
don't know it.
You don't know that song?
You don't know "Come Sail Away," Mr. Roboto.
Oh,
Everybody
is that
knows.
Styx?
Yeah, that's Styx.
Oh, see, I didn't know that.
See,
Fake Styx fan.
I never.
I mean, he's not claiming to be a Styx fan. so-
Everyone's a Styx
Right.
fan. They
No,
just don't know
no.
it.
I grew up in the Styx, not
Listening to Styx.
not listening to Styx. And to tell you pretty much how countrified I was,
Uh-oh.
it was very common to walk out my back door and have deer just basically staring at you.
Just shoot 'em.
Occasionally
yeah.
during season, obviously. I mean,
Yes, you want to season it after you shoot it.
yes. But I grew up, like I said, very country. Grew up in a, very small school, a private school, Christian school, out of the church that I went to.
Sorry to hear that.
And it was actually really nice. It really was nice. We had a lot of good teachers, a lot of good people that helped us out. Like I said, it was out of our church. So, basically the school teachers were leaders in the church. So that was like a big help and things like that. And I grew up in church. Definitely, not ashamed to talk about that one. And it was just, it was interesting just kind of being able to go throughout school, because a lot of people talk about, they go to school and they learn certain things, and, it's like, at 10th grade, you learn something. And I remember talking to some friends and things like that. And I'm like, okay, you guys learned that in 10th grade. We learned that in 5th grade. We were, not to say that we were advanced in any way, but it was interesting how we did it was, so you had kindergarten, and it was a straight, like, full school from kindergarten till 12th grade is what our school was. And each class was doubled up. So we had kindergarten and first grade in one class, or, at times, like when I was growing up, kindergarten was one class, then we had first and second, third, fourth, on and on. And so by the time I hit first grade, because of how we were and because of the budget of the school, we would do one set of lessons. So what I mean by that is, like, when I was in first grade, I was doing second grade work. Now the downside of that was when I moved to second grade, I was doing first grade work, because we would split it, like we would switch off and on, but it helped me actually, learn a lot quicker. I was able to learn a lot more that way. And so going through school, I did fairly well. There were a couple of classes that I just completely bombed. Not gonna lie on that one, but my kind of like my admiration for in school was always English or grammar, and I liked math. I just didn't like doing it. That was basically it. I didn't like doing math, but it was fun. I grew up with a lot of kids, and I could go on and on about stories about our childhood, but kind of like go a little bit further into it. I was, after I graduated high school, I basically worked for, my dad. My dad owns a business like what we work in right now. So I grew up in that, and learned from him a great deal of things. And so worked there for a while, ended up going to Bible college, studying apologetics, like what you're talking about, studying for theology. I have an associate's in theology, just because the way that our Bible college was we only did like a 3-year course. And so that kind of limited just a little bit. I mean, we could have gone further and further, but just because of some decisions that I was making and things like that at the time, the 3 years was what I could do. And so did that, worked in a couple of churches for a little bit as a youth leader, did some preaching and things like that.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's not something that I don't, it's not that I don't like talking about it, because I do. It's just not something that I talk about a lot, just because of, certain situations that have happened in my life that's kind of like I've had to give up certain parts of it. Like right now, for instance, I got married. That's not one of the like bad life decisions, but I got married. We ended up moving up here to Michigan in 2015. And from there, I haven't really been able to find a church to really kind of fit in to what I want to do. Most churches that I've been going to, they either have like a very accelerated youth group, or they're not focused on youth at all.
So now you belong to the Church of the Deer.
Yes, yeah, the Church of John Deere.
Not affiliated.
Yeah. So
do you pray over the tractors before you fix them?
No, but there have been times where I have prayed to God to either let this thing run, or I will be smashing it with a hammer.
I mean, if you want, I can always get some holy water and throw it on some of the units. And
I'm afraid some of them may catch on fire.
That's okay.
Yeah. I swear there are some that seem like they're demon possessed. But yeah, once we moved up here, like I said, the church ministry kind of got put on hold just a bit. I have been able to find a bit of an outlet through TikTok. Just kind of, I have my own personal page that, I've been posting some things for a couple years, trying to just kind of like keep that going as much as possible. But when I moved up here, ended up finding a job at where we work at. It's a great place. Love working there. And from there, that's basically where I'm at.
Well, right now you're at a table in a basement.
Yes, I am in the Dave Cave, sitting at a table. I do, like I said, I do have a family, my wife and my daughter. My daughter's 10 years old. For those who don't know her, she's an amazing little girl. Looks exactly like her mom, acts exactly like her dad, and sometimes that's not a good thing. But she is insanely smart,
Mhm.
I will put it that way. That's something that I am, very proud of, of what we've done. And, my wife has really, stepped in when she was born, of really just kind of like teaching her very quickly. And my daughter picks up on things like very fast. I mean,
Good.
she's
That's
very, very
good.
quick.
That's awesome.
So I did have a bit of technology stint, like David's kind of talking about a little bit when I was down south. I worked for roughly about 5 years at a convention center down there.
That's right.
Yeah, I did audio visual. We did a lot of, at times it was kind of boring because we did a lot of like meeting room setups, which was just like putting a microphone, putting a podium and a stand, and turning the lights on.
Projector now and then.
Yeah, projector. The great thing about that place was everything was in house, and so all the projectors were basically, there for a little bit we weren't, but we got them all mounted, and so it was just plugging it in and letting
Plug
it
and
go.
play.
Yeah. But that was an amazing job. I really loved that. Started doing a lot of lighting. Never really picked up. I could do audio quite a bit. Picked up on video some, but I felt like my passion was lighting. Did a few light shows that were very interesting. Actually, one of them that kind of like sits out to me is we were getting ready for a show.
Yeah.
And I had a light designer that was there. She's an amazing person, and she wanted to see the show, like as we were setting up, testing and stuff like that. And so I remember like getting to a point where it was like the music picks up and the lights start to flicker, and it's like, I thought I was doing like a really great job. And I happened to look over to see like if she was enjoying it, and she's laying on the floor. I didn't know she was epileptic.
Oh.
So yeah, basically knocked her out with the show. So let's just say that my performance was a knockout.
Yes.
She did say that she liked it up until that point. So
That's awesome. How can she be like a light person and have?
See, I have asked.
It's like being a deaf music critic. That doesn't make any
right.
sense.
I've wondered that on multiple occasions, and she's told me that she actually grew up and she had a master's in theater, doing like theater lighting and stuff like that. And so that's what she's mainly into, is like the static looks and things, where I'm all about the flash and
that's
and
cool.
stuff.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I was able to do that for a while. That was really great. Got to meet a lot of good people, a lot of good famous people there. But yeah, like I said, now I'm here in Michigan, and
Did you meet Philip Seymour Hoffman?
unfortunately, no.
Okay, well then, who cares who you met?
Wow.
Because he's the only one I care about.
Philip Seymour Hoffman would have been a great. He would have been somebody that I would have liked to meet, though, because he always enthralled me with his performances. Like his acting was really good.
Yeah.
One of those that's gone just a little too soon.
Yeah.
Well, since you have a background in lighting and effects, I have to ask, since now you work on tractors, is it true what they say, that any machine is a smoke machine if you use it wrong enough?
Yes. Yes. I can take, if I had just a couple of moving lights back there, I could do a light show with most of the machines that I work on.
Oh, we should do a haunted house.
That would be
No.
awesome.
The haunted house of tractors.
That would be awesome. We do have enough to, imagine one of these things come, rolling out at you as you're walking through a
Ooh.
dark hallway. And it's interesting too, because I do have a smoke machine at work.
Yeah, I know.
We're not going to talk about that one, but
It's for when
No,
you
I-
want to jam out, man.
yeah. It's fun because like when I really want to get our boss kind of like, worked up, I'll set it up, and then as he's walking through and I'm running one of the machines, I'll hit it just so it kind of smokes everything out.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
I don't know what's wrong with it.
It's
it was running
smoking.
fine a minute ago.
It's smoking everywhere. I thought it was almost done.
Yeah.
So given that you have a history in the church and a history in smoke machines, do you think smoke machines belong in churches?
Heck yes. I say heck yes.
Well, you know,
Well, I say Gorsh, no, Mickey.
yeah, that's kind of a
Hard question.
it is, because the way some churches are now, it's like I know they rely on those. I do remember working shows for churches
Sure.
that they required smoke machines and stuff like that.
Like, it's one thing if you're going for a fun effect for kids or something.
Yeah.
But like if you're relying on that, then you're too boring.
Yeah.
You need to work on your message.
And that's kind of what it felt like to me a little bit, was, you know, because like there was a show that we did, and I won't mention them or anything like that, but it was a fairly big show. It was like a very big production for a church group that would come in, and through the entirety of the worship part of the show, they wanted that smoke machine rolling. I mean, they wanted it just
for worship.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
because, you know, it's like we would have the lights and things like that, and, you know, it's like the effects and stuff. And I mean, and there were times where it felt like a concert. You know, it didn't feel like a church service. It felt like an actual, like a concert type thing.
Now I've heard of like doing a concert. Like my church has done that, where they had like a portable stage, you know, outside in the parking lot, and we had a couple of praise bands or praise teams or whatever you want to call them, and they did, you know, some of the more upbeat songs. You know, that's a concert, and that's a permissible thing to do, but that's not a church service,
Right. And, you know, and it's like I said, that's kind of like where it's kind of a hard thing, because you don't want to like talk about, you know, churches and stuff like that. And I know we will get into those types of things in later shows.
Yes.
But they're like, for instance, the church that I am attending at the moment, they do that for their worship. We have a full band. We have, you know, guitar, bass, drums. We have, you know, singers, backup singers, stuff like that. They have moving lights. They have smoke machines and stuff. And there are times where it feels like you are at a concert. Like you're not at a church service.
Yeah.
You're actually at a concert.
No,
And
I actually got in trouble for blinking the lights during a vacation Bible school once.
That's awesome.
They were like, no, we can't do that.
Yeah.
Because apparently that's too modern, I guess. Yeah. See that? Oh, that leads into a whole other topic. We'll talk about that another time.
And I think it kind of, you know, it kind of stems on I don't want to say the religion, but the type of church that we are, you know, that you attend. For instance, I grew up, and I still associate with it. I am Independent Baptist.
Okay.
Independent, for those who don't really know, Independent Baptist, we don't affiliate with any kind of like an association. Like you have the Southern Baptist movement, you have the Missionary Baptist and things like that. Independent Baptist, we are our own entity. Now we do, you know, we follow what the Bible says, we follow what God's word says, but we don't have to look to like an organization to tell us what we're allowed to do or not allowed to do in our church. And so, you know, through that, you know, I remember the first time that we somebody brought in an electric bass to the church, you know, and there were people at that time who were like, oh man, that's, you know,
yeah,
that's sacrilegious. Yeah. You know, because we grew up with piano and an organ, and that was it.
Sometimes an acoustic guitar.
Yeah, sometimes an acoustic guitar would come in and things like that. And so, you know, and then as we started, you know, I don't want to say progressing, as we started like moving throughout the years, you know, it's like now you go there and it's, you know, you've got 2 or 3 guys that have an acoustic guitar. You got, you know, a bass player. I think there's like a banjo player in there at some point, you know, and it's just,
My church
it
doesn't have that.
It's just something that's fun, you know. Of course, like I said, down south, it's pretty much, you know, it's very common to see those types of things. But it's like up here, it seems like it's very, it's more modern. You hardly see a church that doesn't have a drum set. You know,
I would say you hardly see like a Protestant church that doesn't have a drum set.
Correct.
Yeah. Like the Catholics, the Orthodox, the Anglicans, and the Lutherans, they would all for the most part, have pretty traditional worship.
I'm Lutheran, and we have a drum set.
Yeah.
We have electric bass. We have mostly acoustic guitar, sometimes electric, and we have piano.
Yeah. Yeah, they're air quotes Lutheran.
Yeah. Well,
traditionally the form in which the Lutheran Church worked was they had a mass. So it was the same way that Catholic worship is done, or very similar to that. So to have like drum sets in the middle of the mass kind of doesn't work very well. It's like the priest is like, breaking the body in the blood, or administering breaks the body, and then you just hear a guy on the drum set go like it just doesn't fit.
We don't do that. I think we have musical interludes. Like most of the service is silent, but there's a song in between things.
Yeah.
And
Sure.
Yeah. So to answer the question, I don't believe that a smoke machine should be in a church.
Yeah. I was mostly asking as a joke because I know it would put you in a tough spot, and so I'm happy you had a very detailed response.
As you see, it's very detailed. But yeah, growing up in church, it really it's kind of helped me a lot because, and not get into it, there have been situations that have come up, especially over the past couple of years, that have really kind of tested my faith. And it's like I thank God for the way that I was raised, because I don't know that I would be where I am right now if it wasn't for that background. If it wasn't for growing up in that Christian school, growing up in that church and things like that. So it's like I'm definitely not ashamed and not afraid to talk about the way that I was raised.
Nor should you.
Yeah. And it's kind of sad because, growing up, it's like I know a lot of people who have really gotten away from what they believe. And, they'll talk about how the church ruined their life and, and stuff like that. And it's like, I know that's a total different subject and a total different conversation for later on. But you put in what you get out, or you get out what you put in is what I was trying to say. I'm sorry. So if you put into your spirituality, your Christianity, the work and the effort into getting closer to God, you're going to reap the benefits that God has for you. Same thing as if you don't, it's just like a farmer, if you plant the seed and you just let it just sit and don't do anything about it, you're not really going to get a good harvest.
Yeah.
But if you work at it, you till the soil, you constantly try to pull the weeds and stuff like that, it's like your harvest is going to be a lot better. And it's the way that I view Christianity is, whatever you put into it, the time that you put into it. And I'm not saying that I'm a perfect Christian, because by no means am I. But like I said before, without my background and without, the church, training me in the way that I have been trained, I definitely know that I would not be anywhere in my life where I am right now. I could probably honestly say I may not even be alive if it wasn't for that.
So we're glad you are.
Yeah, I'm glad I am too, because that would make this podcast a little bit weird.
Hey, Dave. Just us.
Well, we'd still have a corpse to play off of. Like,
oh my God.
Hey, Jonathan, how you doing?
I'm fine, guys.
Weekend at Jonathan's, the podcast.
Yes. Or it could be like a paranormal podcast.
Remember that scene in Toy Story?
Like a ghost?
The scene in Toy Story where he's got Buzz's arm and he's trying.
What are you trying to pull? Nothing. But yeah, that's basically me.
Sweet.
Like I said, I have stories. I know that I just said my life is kind of boring. I mean, in a sense it is, because usually when I start telling stories, people kind of just nod off. But
I like your stories, Jonathan.
No, I appreciate it. But yeah, that's it.
So if you use our podcast as a sleep aid, you're welcome.
Yes, you're very welcome.
So that's why we need to start like mixing in the yelling part of Hey Jude into random parts of the podcast. And like so whenever someone's about to go to sleep, they just hear Jude.
Yeah, we would get sued for that.
Yes, we would.
That's okay.
Yeah. I don't even know who owns the rights to the Beatles music.
Yoko Ono does.
Oh, because it was Michael Jackson for a while.
Yeah, but they won that in court, I think.
Oh.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Oh. What happens when Yoko is no longer with us?
Then Yoko go.
It would be Yoko no Mo.
Of course.
Yoko no Mo. That's what she gets for breaking up the band.
Oh man.
That's a whole other subject in itself.
Yes. So, but I enjoyed this one, guys.
Yeah, it was awesome.
That's us.
This is us. I'm glad you got to listen in, and hopefully you are just as entertained as we are.
Yeah.
It's funny because I was told the other day by somebody that boys are the easiest to entertain.
Yeah.
Because basically you just put them in an empty room and they will find something to entertain themselves with.
Dude, all we need is a rock.
Right?
Rocks are so fun.
Right? They really are. Like you can do a lot of things with them.
Eat them.
Rocks were the reason I got in trouble at school for the very first time.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That'll be a whole other discussion as well.
Right.
What's in the box too? Maybe next year. I don't know.
Next year, yeah.
Alrighty.
But again, so glad you guys could listen in, and we enjoyed it.
Yeah.
If you get the chance, or check us out. We have a Facebook page. We have Instagram.
Yes.
We now have TikTok. There will be a couple of videos posted on there.
We have Twitter. There's not much there either.
Oh yeah, we do have Twitter too.
Yeah, we have Twitter. Yeah.
So check us out. Leave us a comment. Leave us a like. Let us know what you think. Share it. Let's get the word out because.
Especially if you're Cher, then definitely share it.
Good one.
Is she still alive?
I think so.
Who?
Cher.
No.
I mean, I really don't know.
Me neither, but I'm going to stick to what I said.
I mean,
her and Chopin are doing something somewhere.
Maybe she found life after love.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, that one just went over Noah's head. Now I feel.
Oh,
old.
I know the song. I'm sorry. I think she's like one of those people where it's like, why the heck were you famous? She's like the Oprah Winfrey of pop music.
But she was good back in her day.
No,
back in the day she was good.
You gonna
her and Sonny.
Oh, if you could turn back time, if you could find a way.
Well,
would you end her career? Because I would.
I got you, babe.
No, you don't.
At this point, nobody does.
Yeah.
So,
oh,
still
man.
single, ladies. Don't miss your day opportunity.
Yep. All
right. But yeah, again, thank you guys for listening in. I'm John.
I'm Dave.
And I'm Noah.
Have a great night.